You became a moderator the day you were born. Though I would love to, the ranked ladder is currently offline. Due to the server maintenance, it'll be about 2 hours. So, I think I will play around with fortress designs. About there should do for now. And yes. Of course, Jake. Of course. Well, if you'd like, I'd be up for it now. Here, I'll pull up Jedi Academy on the side, and we can have duels between while I do some edits. Jedi Academy. I'll have to go to the thing. Eternal? No, that's not quite right. Taste. There we are. So now, while I play Age of Empires 2, we can duel a few times. Provided I bring it up right. I will need to adjust the volume. Welcome to the chat, Alex the Great. And he states I'm new to AoE too, but so far I enjoy tormenting my friends with your strategies. I love it. I'll just need to adjust my volume real quick. We'll do about 2 duels, and then I'll switch back to the editor real quick. And then between times we can duel. Let me edit my volume here. About there should do. Bring voice down a little bit. Voice, set up lighting. Sound, voice volume to about here. Spectate, sign in. Alright, get down here. Oh, hang on. Saber defense was only level 2. Alrighty. Which civilization should lay siege to said fortress? Bohemians? Lithuanians? Alright. And the Poles. Alright. The first one will be Bohemians then Lithuanians, then the Poles. Now, we can go with Teutons first. However, we can also do other civilizations, such as the Georgians, the Jurchens, etc. First one in chat to say a civilization to be a defensive fortress gets it. And we'll do that one first. Alright, it shall be the Teutons first. Now I've placed the other person in a wall for the reason that I will create the fortress and the AI will play as the fortress, and we, the player, shall play as the one that will lay siege to said fortress. That might work out, might not. We'll see. Well, then again, that would mean I have to do the entire thing in the scenario editor. I will free the AI, and it will lay siege to us. But then again, we can also switch players' perspectives while in game. Never mind, we're good. Test.
Ja. Ja.
Ah, there's one thing I had forgotten. I must ensure to place it all as post-imperial for both players. There we go. And so it begins.
Bereite. Heise. Buvere.
When creating a fortress, at times it's a bit of a Bob Ross thing, but I have a bit of a way to do it that I'm used to, but that can also be a setback in terms of Bob Rossing it. So, what to do with the imagination? Alright, I'll do a few of the ones that exist so far. And I shall This would be the minimalist. Simply 20 farms and the basic build of the fortress. It can be increased to have many more farms on the outer rim. The 20 farm version would be more so Portuguese or perhaps archer civilizations, as one way for eco focus. This is a somewhat older version. Little less on the farms, about 4 less, but allows for double up gates and 4 towers in the center. The 3 towers on the sides is definitely optional. The reason for the bombard towers being on the outer rim rather than the gate being here and the bombard towers being here or close to the tower is that the bombard towers can now reach the outer area of the outer gate with more efficiency. Elsewise, the closer they are to the castle, the less of the outer area that they can range. Now, a citadel that I like to use is pretty basic.
Ja. Bereit. Boevere. Boevere. Das ist so.
First, I shall show the blueprints of it.
Boevere.
For 2 total bombard towers per corner. And this would be the basic of it. But first let me increase it.
Ja, das ist toll. Heise.
Now the gates will be 2 tiles away
Das ist toll. Das ist toll.
from the corners.
Boevere.
The corner is technically only 1 tile away of distance between the gate foundation and the wall foundation.
Bereit. Boevere.
Like so.
Ja.
Then you just add walls from there to there and so on.
Boevere.
And that gets a doubled up fortress range.
Bereit.
You can add in towers, be they regular keeps or bombard towers. Either is fine, but this is more so for beauty style than it is for the additional defense. Albeit, it still functions.
Ja.
And you can add additional towers between here and here, as many as one might desire, and it becomes even more functional in that regard. Meanwhile, the bombard towers would defend this area, even on the opposite side. Can be stone intensive, but also looks really nice. You can add barracks and so on to the outer ranges. Now we shall allow him to build it. Thank you very much for the 1,000 bits there. I want to say Stormy. Let me see here. I must... There we go. There. Thank you very much for the 1,000 bits, Stormy Shippy. I appreciate you greatly. And this is a fortified citadel. Meanwhile, just the regular small version would be just the same, but just to have it on the side here for aesthetic. No worries, Coffee Pixel. If I see the invite, I can accept it if you'd like, though. If I happen to have missed it. And that would be the small version here. This one works as an area for building military buildings around it, or as a fortified position defending a trade route. You can even add walls to and from certain areas. Say there's a tree line here, tree line here. You can add gates, walls, and it will generally defend the position. Now, for Georgian towers, this would be a scorpion in disguise, and incoming enemy groups would be decimated fairly quickly. But this will do for the most part, for most. Now these can be keeps, but the output in damage is less for a non-Georgian civilization, so I suppose Japanese would do very well as Britons and so on. Koreans to a degree, but their damage output is less so. I would say Chinese could be if they garrison their keeps of their Chukunu. Now, a basic fortress. Aye, Tupi towers could be good. I'd like to see their damage output. The only problem with them, the only issue I see, is that on the defensive portion they lack both defensive upgrades, masonry, architecture. So their buildings are definitely going to be having trouble. Welcome to the chat, Mustafai. And Zarex. Yes, I started streaming recently. About a little over a week ago now. I have the videos uploaded onto YouTube. Thank you, thank you. Absolutely. I'll be making something with Portuguese in due time. Now, regarding the main fortress, it is linkable with other fortresses, other architectures. There are small versions, and there are large versions. Now, if I remember correctly, this one would be with simply Simply mills in a castle.
Boevere, boevere. 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 Ja. Boevere, boevere. Boevere, boevere. Boevere, boevere. Boevere, boevere, boevere. Boevere, 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 boevere. Boevere, boevere. Boevere.
Alongside
Boevere.
some basic tower reinforcement.
Boevere, boevere. Boevere, boevere. Das ist toll. Das war. Das ist toll. Bereite.
And then, alongside those, you can also add the basic citadel structure, with bombard towers within if desired. Enough for additional 28 farms. Followed by simply adding in the walled structure. And then the gates would match the gates coming from the castle. And the gates themselves are entirely optional, within a less defended area. For instance, this area could be moved over here if the area is in too close to the wall. This particular formation here is 28 farms. Meanwhile, over here, I think it would be like 36 farms. 40 farms if I reduce it down to one tower on a side. How did that go yesterday, Trash Panda?
Das ist toll. Boevere. Bereite.
And then additionally, as an example, you can also do it with a single town center and do about 20 farms, plus towers. And then do the walls. Perhaps even gates, if desired. You could also just do only one singular gate. And this would work as a basic defensive area, or additional defensive farming area, with only the cost of a single town center as the basis, and adding 4 towers for defense. You can also add additional towers, be they bombard towers, in any of the free zones. This particular version is weaker. It's more of a supplemental area for farming. or if you're doing a 1 TC all-in
Ja, was ich soll.
as a basis. You can add the walls, you can add towers. Well, the towers initially come up in Feudal Age. And you can do 20 farms into a 1 TC all-in. And then the walls themselves are probably more so at close to Imperial Edition, rather than a Castle Age one.
Heise.
Albeit if the opponent is going Mass Knights, you may desire the walls a little bit earlier.
Das ich soll. Das war. Buvere. Ja. Buvere. 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 Ja. Buvere. Bereite. Buvere. Das ich soll. Buvere. Ja. Buvere. Bereite. Buvere. Ja. Rete. Buvere. Das war. Rete.
Did you win?
Das ich soll. Das ich soll. Das war. Das ich soll. Das war. Das war.
The longest game is likely over 10 hours. I don't know which one or how long ago it was, or even if it was 10 hours or more,
Das ich soll.
but I believe I've seen that time range
Das ich soll.
on the clock.
Das war. Buvere. Ja.
Now, this is the initial fortress that I would normally go to,
Rete.
generally speaking, before I started doing the larger fortress, because I wasn't very
Buvere.
confident in my ability to hold the first base I made. So say here I make
Buvere. Buvere. Buvere.
6 total farms or so.
Ja.
Hopefully I've gotten 3 relics. Building a castle here.
Buvere. Buvere.
Actually, hang on.
Bereite. Buvere.
It was actually originally part of the citadel, I think. It's been a bit.
Buvere. 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 Heise. Ja.
About here would probably suffice.
Buvere. 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 Buvere.
Corner fortresses used to be my specialty. I would just boom, gather all the resources I can, then hang out in the corner.
Bereite.
Well, there was one recently that was Black Forest against, I believe, the Tupi on Black Forest.
Ja. Das war.
And it was very troublesome It was a game not too long before the Yamato game. Welcome to the chat, Rookie. This particularly, since the ranked matchmaking is currently down for maintenance for about 2 hours, I suppose about an hour and a half more or a little bit more from the moment. I am currently in the editor creating structure. Now, the main issue with the corner fortress is that you have to worry about housing. Say you get 20 from the castle, 5 from the town center, that's 25 taken care of. But you would also have to build 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110. And that's just taking up this amount of space here for 110. You can double it up. Thank you for feeding the dragon, JXCB. Now, it can be utilized to create a map or game mode, but the main thing is to have structure memorized and created beforehand to a degree that you can re-implement it in 1v1 ranked or multiplayer. When you can practice structure and build it quickly, you can utilize it well without it taking up too much of your time going about, oh, how can I build this way in a way that it helps this current situation? More or less. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 145, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100 for 200 total. So this would be about the housing area you would need to house the 6 farms, relics, town center, and castle. Which means that this castle would not be able to properly defend the sides well. So this castle will have to go up a bit to actually defend the area. And it might need a sister castle to do it properly. So say if you have a castle here, and a castle here, rather than just a singular castle. Normally I would have just a single castle, but doing this is likely more efficient and would allow for more military buildings in behind. That being said, goodness, the Huns and the Mongols would not have this issue if they wish to do a defensive fortress sort of thing, since that they, for Huns initially and Mongols later, would have no need of housing. So say that you have gathered resources that you would require for defense, and your base might be a little bit too more into the map to be defensible. Say you have 4 total sides the opponent can attack from. You might consider adjusting the fortress location either to a more cornerized location like so, or a full cornerized location as such. You can be limited on farms, or you can increase farms. However, and to a degree, let's say the opponent breaks in one side and breaks through this area. Though the castles will provide defense, they won't necessarily be able to properly defend the town center. So you could, if you so desired, go ahead and build that other citadel, or 2 outer and 1 inside. This would defend both the housing and the interior. Trebuchets will come forth, yes. And yes, if the army is not doing its job, the trebuchets can come near and snipe. However, the benefit of a cornerized location is that the army has less work to do on the defensive angle. They can attack and retreat and defend and not have many angles of attack to worry about. If the army is well maneuvered, the opponent won't have the option of coming near. At least not for more than a moment. And additionally, you can add additional walls on the outside exterior. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks about right. And you can utilize areas such as these to add in wrong one. Trebuchets and bombard cannons of your own. I think my initial version of a corner fortress had a lot of trebuchets. So much so that approaching would be very fun for an opponent to see. Perhaps. I currently do not record audiobooks, albeit I do read Grimm's fairy tales here and on YouTube. Eventually, I would like to record audiobooks professionally, but I must ensure that my control of my voice is good and my vocabulary sound. Now this, a whole bunch of trebuchets, is almost a pipe dream in most modes. But it's something I would do when I was, I think, 900 going on 1,000 elo. When I only had the ability to play custom games. And my ranked play wasn't all that great. But I think it's still optimal if the resources to have it would be there, and you don't have an issue with enemy bombard cannons coming in. Elsewise, these trebuchets would be having a lot more trouble. You can use this to counter some siege to an extent. Rest well, rookie. Nice. Thank you for stopping by. And you can simply select the group that you have and hit attack ground, and it'll keep on firing. Yes. Speaking of which, let's say you have a bunch of enemy Mongudai. They are being microed very well, and you haven't much of an ability to actually hit them, because it can be a nightmare trying to actually hit well-microed Mongudai. Yes, Tata Trebs would be insane. Let's say you have 10 siege onagers. 20, if you want to. But let's say we have 10. We can hotkey them. 1 per hotkey. And then get them firing like so. You can then adjust your aim at will to attack Mongudai where they are and where they are going. Now, when the opponent is actually nearby, and the setup is a little bit harder to do, especially when having trouble, the best thing you can do is have your siege onagers on no attack stance, and then rapidly select the Mongudai while you are clicking your onagers and rapidly having them attack. That will have the same effect, and then you can select the whole group, and while they are having their cooldown and have just attacked, will have the same effect. Same rapid fire in general. So that will get the initial attack out, and will set you up for further attack ability. Let's see. So this would be a decent example for a corner fortress. If only one castle, this castle would have to go about up to here, and you'd have to rely on walls and the army for the sides.
Ja. Boevere. 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 Boevere.
It can be, well, that is mangoes. Siege onagers are mangonels. I suppose with a mangonel, it can be done as well, but with a little bit less effect and gusto.
Das ist toll. Boevere. 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 Bereite. Boevere. 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 Ja. Boevere. Das war.
And this would be an addition of just simply
Boevere.
a
Boevere.
town center with towers
Boevere.
as an additional area for farming connected to the main fortress area.
Boevere. 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 Boevere.
As an option. So say you have this, you can also build the fortress against it. So saying you start with the one town center, you build your initial 1 TC all in, you get the walls and everything. You can then build basically this on top of it.
Ja.
But as for the memorization, I don't have that memorized yet. As for scorpions, I think the method would be a little bit different. So with scorpions, if you have them
Bereite. Das war.
Need one of these. Let's say you have 60 scorpions. Now currently, with the current ability to basically stand ground patrol stack, you can have them all in a line. And as they reach the enemy, in terms of their ability to see the enemy, they will start attacking naturally as they come into their range. So while one attacks, the next one comes in range, attacks, and that will achieve the rapid fire effect. The same thing can be said of the hand cannoneers. But as for when that is patched out, that'll be a little bit harder, because you'd have to have them on no attack stance. And you can patrol them into a certain zone, or just have them in an area such as this, or such as this. Up to 60, 60 would be harder than 20 to actually fit in there. So it'd be probably easier to fit into a larger area. Let's say you have them here, and you have enemies nearby. It could be taken as a short-term thing, but if you have 6 keybinds, hang on. And have them all on no attack stance, you can one by one, as the enemy is in range, tap the icons here, just simply selecting them by hotkey and then tapping stand ground. And that would achieve a similar effect of rapid fire. But a little less effective, but also possible. If the scorpions are attacking only all at once, and the opponent is attacking with Mongudai, and they are just going side to side and making the scorpion shots miss, you can simply set one side to stop. Then once one side attacks, get the other side to attack with rhythm. You can do this probably generally easily with up to 3 areas of scorpions. So one attack, the other attacks, the other attacks. A lot less able for an opponent to actually micro and keep out of the attack pattern. Attack ground definitely does make a very good difference. It's only a pity that the Scorpion line cannot attack ground as well. It would make it efficient to actually getting that up and running. And then similarly with the bombard cannons, Turks and Bohemians would be particularly scary for most. 10 is decent, 20 is better. Now, it is preferable to have scorpions behind you, regardless if you have onagers or bombard cannons. So that way you can counter incoming hustler and whatnot trying to snipe the siege. With siege onagers, it's easier to counter those units, but with bombard cannons, you can have a very similar effect. And they are much more achievable than trebuchets. Note that unlike siege onagers, there is a delay in the attack, so you have to give them a moment to actually fire. In that way, you can attack different portions of archer groups as they move. And if you are Bohemians with Hoofnies, or even to a degree Ethiopians with their increased blast radius, an opponent will have a lot harder time actually hitting you. But as for bombard cannons, you can have them on no tax guns, you can have them on the separate hotkeys. You can select one hotkey each and select different points of an archer group to attack different points. And that, to say this is for example, not an attack ground, but actually attacking an opponent group of archers. And in that way, you can attack a whole bunch of different points of an archer group at once. For regular foot archers, it can be very deadly, especially if they're grouped up, but also if they're surrounded by your cavalry while you are making the shots. And if they decide to hide in a small space where archers usually hide, the bombard cannons can make short work of them. So siege onagers are now locked at 96 speed, if I'm not mistaken. Or siege towers. Yeah. Alright. So siege towers can be useful, but they're not as useful as they were for taxi servicing. However, let's say you are on the opposite side of an enemy wall. You would think that since it's a zero-town gap that you'd be able to actually garrison. That is unfortunate. Well, given that there was a game that had it. So for instance, you can actually build with a villager through the one through the zero tile gap right at that center point between the two tiles. Right here. You can build buildings. To a degree, it doesn't make sense to me that you can't garrison with that singular gap, but I suppose that it is good that that is a thing. Ah, that's the point. So on gates, there's a few tiles where it's also zero gap. You can see it right here. Say this is the standard wall, and this is the foundation. The villager will go around that foundation, and will meet into that zero gap area, and build like so. And unlike the other ones where the zero gap you cannot garrison, this one here, where was I? Can actually garrison with that zero tile gap, which is what they had in that one game that is recent. But if that's possible, it does bother me that it isn't possible here. But I suppose it is a good thing that it isn't possible. This will probably be patched out at some point. Alrighty. Sadly, it does not work with the normal building walls. Actually, let me try these side ones. Just a straight wall here. So say at the same angle. We shall see if the same can be achieved. So this is the zero tile. Or is it? Alright, the zero tile would be right here. Hang on. It does work. But only when the siege tower is in motion. I think it can be a bit finicky though. Let's see here. For the sake of it, I shall wall the tower in. Alright, so you can theoretically keep coming in and passing by the zero tile range. And the Teutonic Knights will at some points actually range into it. It's definitely finicky though, but it is doable. There we go. So it is possible. Just very, very finicky. Let me try it again here on this side. So you'd want to hold down Alt so that you aren't automatically clicking the wall for departure. And then you'll... Wait, hang on. Separate hotkeys. Click and hold down Alt. Alright, if you select both of them and hold down Alt at the point of there, you can get close enough somehow and make them meet at that point. But so finicky it is. Alright, it does work, just very finicky, but also functional if in an emergency. So I take it back. Siege Tower can be used in that manner. Yes, that too. But this one also had an unlocked gate, so they won't run away even if it isn't fully walled, so long as you're hitting the right areas repeatedly. And holding down Alt so the siege tower isn't automatically trying to go into the unload function on the wall itself. Alright,